You think I can't see you? I see you. There's my guy.
Hello, Doris. Happy Mother's Day. I don't know if this is telling about my parenting, but on Mother's Day, my husband's taken my children away just for a few hours. I got a sleep in, I got breakfast in bed, I got two beautiful drawings, really cute things, saying my little one said that he loves me because I smooch him, and my older one says he loves me because I take care of him. So that was really nice. Yeah, so I got that. I woke up, I got a clean kitchen. My husband's taking the kids out. And I'm going to spend Mother's Day morning reading. So I'm going to read another 50 pages, hopefully before the children arrive, so that my thoughts aren't interrupted and I can just sink myself into this book. I'm intrigued. I've been thinking about it. As I was reading it, I was kind of, I could take or leave this. And then throughout the night, and as I was reading another book, I was still thinking about what the hell's going to happen. So that counts for something, right? Anyway, I'm going to sit here in the sun in my reading room and get stuck in. So just having a thought. The book is kind of set up in two different time frames. So there's Phyllis, it opens with Phyllis getting out of jail, and that's in 1979, and then it goes back to 1938, and sort of, I guess that's the story of how she got into jail. And we're dipping in and out. Every few chapters or so we hear from future Phyllis. Now this is what happens in these books that kind of loses me. I find when we're dipping from one time frame to the next, I find there's always one time frame I don't care about. And it's normally the future one, because I'm so invested in the storyline of, like in this case, of how Phyllis got into jail. I don't really need to know what it was like in jail. So the bit I just read, the future Phyllis bit, was just about how horrible jail was and things like that. And that didn't really add anything to the story. I just breezed through it to try and get to the past Phyllis stuff. So I'm hoping that as this book develops, that kind of creates a bit more perspective around what's going on. It's a bit more of an interest to me, but right now it's annoying me. Well, that bit just annoyed me. I'm easily annoyed. Anyway, I just thought I'd check in around that. I don't know what your thoughts are, Doris, around that, but hopefully these little two time frame things work out. My fingers are crossed. Right, I just finished chapter 5, and it was all about her visiting her parents and her mother's condition, and also the introduction of an old lover. Well, he wasn't really a lover, an old flame, maybe. And then the end of the chapter, then we're starting to move on with the movement and the camp and the story. And I just, like, I'm reading it thinking, what does this have to do with anything? Maybe it will all come together. But can't we just get stuck into, like, Phyllis getting involved in this movement thing? We're 72 pages in like a 260 page book. I think we need to get moving, people. We need to get moving. I'm getting a little bit impatient, and as we've found out, patience isn't my strong point, is it, Doris? Maybe something will happen that's amazing in the next chapter. Let's hope so. I need something.
So those were the seniors who graduated from this elementary school, which I've taught at off and on for 18 years now. And my son went here his whole elementary career, and he started here when he was 4 months old because they had a program for teachers' kids, daycare. It was just an amazing thing for me as a single mom. And I teared up so much today. And when my kid, who is a freshman in high school, does this walk, there will be an ugly cry. I'm gonna cry right now. I'm gonna stop. I just never get tired of these views, and I'm going to miss this little country high school if I'm not assigned to it next year. Oh my goodness, I'm just feeling a little bit nostalgic today, aren't I? So yeah, back to after the party. This book really isn't much of a party, is it? I don't feel overly engaged with the characters is, I think, my problem. The one that you mentioned, the next door neighbor who was like a pseudo love interest thus far, he was interesting to me. I don't know. I'm hoping that he is an important part of the story at some point, because I mean it seems like he was interjected into the story for a purpose, but I really liked him for some reason. The rest of them, I'm just like, meh, really. I do enjoy the snarky sister dynamic. They seem like there's some sisterly squabbles behind the scenes. But other than that, like with this political entity, I feel like she hasn't clued me in enough to what that is. She keeps talking about the leader and everything, and I'm picking up that it is like a nationalist, conservative, maybe type movement, but I wish she would just go ahead and tell me what it is so that I can start thinking about it, you know? But yeah, I do like dual timelines, so I'm here for that. I like that switching perspective, so that's totally fine. But yeah, hopefully it picks up. But your Mother's Day sounds delightful, honestly. I actually went to the movies. I mentioned that in the previous clip video. But yeah, we went to see, I forget what it was because that was a few days ago, but it was so fun. But I do remember that I was supposed to go buy myself some flowers for Mother's Day, and I didn't get to because the movie was a little longer than we expected, and I had to run home for Mother's Day dinner. So I think maybe I will do that today after the chiropractor, which is actually starting to work, guys. Yay, chiropractors. Anyway, got to run into the high school now, so I will hopefully get some more read this afternoon and check back in with you.
Hey Doris, it's now 8 o'clock at night, and we went to the footy today. As you saw, we went to, anyway, you wouldn't know what it was. You're an American. It's rugby league. But it was in Brisbane, so that's sort of an hour and a half away. So we only just got home. So I haven't read any more than when I spoke to you this morning. So I'm not going to read any more tonight. I'm going to go to sleep and tackle it all tomorrow. I've had a wonderful Mother's Day with my wonderful boys. It's been amazing. Anyway, it's time for sleep. So I'll see you tomorrow. Good night. Hello, Doris. It's Monday afternoon. My day without the children has just flown. I did some computer stuff and then cleaning stuff, and now I've got this 15-minute window where I can finally sit down and read. I need to check dinner though. Oh. I have to go and get the kids soon. Maybe I'll just leave the reading to when I get back. I've got golf lessons this afternoon too. Leave it with me. I'll speak to you again after golf. Well, it's much later. I've only just sat down. I think it's nearly 7:30. I can't believe I haven't been able to read all day. But life, huh? So, I've only got 20 or so more pages to go. I'm going to finish that off before I go to bed. Oops. Hi Doris, I have just finished chapter 7, so this is the second check-in point for our book. Right, so we found out what the movement's all about. We met the leader. We met Phyllis's parents, and we talked a lot about Phyllis's children. We talked about their house building plans. I mean, all of these things I'm saying because I just feel like they're random bits of information that don't contribute to the story at all. I want to know what's happening. I mean, she's just still floating through this movement thing, just being friends with everybody. I mean, how could she get into jail? I guess the second half of this book is going to be really full on, because for her to get to a point where she's in jail, she's going to have to really get involved in some crazy stuff. I have my theory about how she gets in jail, but I'm not going to say, because I'll just keep it to myself. You would think I would want my theory to come true, but quite truthfully, I don't like when it's predictable and I can pick the ending. I want a surprise, so I hope that my prediction isn't correct. Anyway, the only thing that's keeping me reading is just that whole "what did Phyllis do?" question. I'm not interested in the journey. I just want to know the answer. It's not exciting me at all reading this, to be honest. It's not bad. I just feel like nothing is getting to the point. I'd like some more movement forward in the "why did Phyllis go to jail" scenario, rather than meeting her parents and some random guy from her past. I don't know. I'm getting impatient. Maybe that's the problem. Anyway, we will see what the second half of the book brings. I will talk to you about it as I read it. I hope you are not as frustrated with this book as I am. I hope you're enjoying it. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Talk to you then. Bye, Doris.
All right. I always find something at this place. Oh yeah, this could make me very happy. Grandpa bought me one like this when I was a kid. Oh, so tempting. We know I have trouble resisting the clearance aisle. I wonder if I would remember to water it if I let myself bring a fuchsia home. Oh.
Hey, Natalie. So I ended up getting just some little moss roses and a ratty looking geranium to finish my collection down there. I don't know, I was just in a cheap mood, and the geranium was on the clearance rack, so I got it for $1. And the moss roses, I guess she just decided to be gracious or generous, because she gave me those for half price too, so I spent $2.17 today. But I still have things I need to get in the ground and reorganize, so I figured I better wait with the expensive stuff. Yeah. Anyway, the book, I have finished the first 100 pages as well, and I don't know, it's just very meh. I am enjoying the historical aspect of the intra-war thing, which is why I picked it up for Mel's Bookland Adventures, her Through the Ages prompts, the intra-war years. I really liked that section where the kids were, you know, shenanigans at camp and the adults were letting them get away with it because this was probably the last year they would have to be, you know, relaxed like that because of, you know, the political tension going on in the world, and the talk of respecting the prime minister because he was placating Germany and all of that. I'm liking the historical feel to it, but the characters, yeah, they're still just Phyllis, our main character, who is the one that ends up going to prison. She's just such a limp noodle, and I don't know, I can see her taking the fall for everybody else just because she's too naive about things. So yeah, I'm curious to hear your prediction, because I don't really have one right now. I don't think I've been trying to have one. I've just been, getting through it. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there and see how the ending. I want to know what you think and if it came through. So I'll catch you at the
Hi,
end.
Doris. Well, I've finished the book, and let me just say this from the start. I said I didn't like war books, and this is set between World War One and through the duration of World War Two, but it's a part of British war history that I had no idea about. So the fact that there was a unique subject matter there was really exciting. But that's what elevated this to a 3-star book for me. Without that, this would have been a 2-star book. I didn't like it at all. I felt like the author led us on, like she told us untruths and the little cliffhangers that she would leave at the end of the future Phyllis chapters to keep us reading to find out what happened. And really what happened was anticlimactic and not very well developed at all. There was a really interesting political story here, and I get why it wasn't more a part of the book, but I think the author told us about things that we didn't really need to know about. So her parents weren't interesting. There were lots of little things throughout the book that I found were far less interesting than what could have been pursued in terms of that political route. I didn't like it. I don't know if you did, but yep, it's a 3-star book. I'll wait to hear what you think. Bye, Doris.
Hi, Natalie. Everything you said. I feel like I understand why it was on the Walter Scott Prize, because I think that often prize lists target books that fit in with things going on in society now, and this one definitely plays into that civil unrest and government and all of that cycle that's going on today. So yeah, I get that, but from a story standpoint, it fell flat. There was this disconnect between the family dynamics and the political dynamics, and she never really made them make sense together, and she was such a tease. She kept building up the story to be something epic, and it really wasn't. All it had going for it was the unique spin on a moment in time in history that is not very often talked about, I guess. I certainly was not familiar with it. So I thought historically it was very interesting. But as a story, it really wasn't as much. So anyway. But it was super fun to read it with you. So we will have to do another one soon, because I'm on summer vacation starting Friday. Thanks so much, everyone, for hanging out with us, and maybe we'll be back soon. Bye.